Hi folks, here we are from the Mayor's desk. Must start with a very sad moment, and that is the acknowledgement of the passing of our former councillor Sharon Todd. I think the number of comments that are being made on social media says it all, how she was regarded in the community. Her contribution while on council until recently was just outstanding. Her number one aim always was looking after our community, benefiting our community. We thank her for her service, and our condolences certainly go out to family and friends with the passing of Sharon. A very sad moment. Now moving on to council matters, looking at our latest council meeting, of course the annual business plan and budget for the coming financial year was again discussed. I need to remind you all that consultation with the community closes next Monday. It's not too late to have your say. There is still the ability to email to council your thoughts. Also, there is a feedback form. Go to our website. It's very simple, very easy for you to pass on comments. You'll also be able to see the full breakdown of where the rates will be going, how they get allocated, and also go through the business plan, the budget, to see what is being proposed. We've said it before that the budget, which is a draft, and I emphasise it as a draft. This comment that I hear frequently from residents saying, oh, what's the point of making comment? You've already made up your mind, you won't listen. Ever since I've been involved in council, I can assure you every single comment that you pass back on is taken on board. You don't have to read everything about the draft. Yes, it's a long document, but look at the main points, the projects. The budget has been drafted on the basis of trying to keep all services going, our maintenance programs, the projects that will be delivered this coming year that you have been waiting for. We have looked at it that way. We have already deferred many projects till the following financial year purely for that reason, to try to minimise any impact. We are already, as a council, and every regional council in South Australia is already experiencing significant cost increases because of the global situation. I can assure you, between the elected body and administration here at council, we have been working exceptionally tirelessly to try to minimise any impact on you. But we need your comments. So as I've just said, please, I encourage you over the weekend, have a look, just fill out online. It can be done very easily, the feedback form. Please don't be one of those people to use as a cop-out, what's the point, you're not going to listen. So I won't bother. Now I'd like to share some info that did come up from the council reports. Now I've gone a bit overboard about our budget, so I've got to try to get through these quickly. But if you're interested, I say this every time we talk, please go to the council website and check up through the agenda, and you will find a wealth of information that is reported every council meeting that what's happening. Now, for instance, one of the favourite ones I always like to share with you is the local spend, the local purchases that council injects back into the community through its day-to-day operations. Now, this will be the first time that I can think of for quite a while where we've actually had a greater spend outside Whyalla than internally. Yes, we've spent almost $3 million on non-local purchases. $1.5 million has still stayed in Whyalla to contractors, to suppliers, to workers for services. And the reasons it's the opposite way around this time is that we've gone through a period where we've had road resurfacing, concrete footpaths, the renewal of pedestrian crossings, the dredging of Point Lowly and the Whyalla marinas. Obviously specialised work that we've had to bring in resources from outside. But nevertheless, through council, a total of 934 purchase orders were raised for goods. More than 600 of those still stayed local. We concentrate on spending as much locally as possible. So that's been great. Of course, our procurement and invoice department, with that sort of work, is certainly a very busy team. Some other ones, refer to the notes here, don't always contain the figures up in the old brain. Tree maintenance. Back in the 70s and 80s, people that are my vintages were back in Whyalla back then, you will know we had massive tree planting programs. We needed the greenery. The community wanted more greenery. Well, trees get old, even before then, perhaps the 50s and 60s, not all the trees that were planted really should have been. Not throwing anybody under the bus, back in those days weren't really understanding what should and shouldn't be grown in Whyalla. We now know that, and we have a program. So we do have a lot of maintenance. We have identified over the next 5 years, there are around about 700 trees that are getting close to end of life, and particularly for safety, community safety, are going to have to go. And just in the latest reporting period, to give you an idea that between external contractors or that are within Whyalla and their own team, we have been able to generate more work in this area. So in the latest reporting period, we've had 153 tree removals and stump grinding by our internal crews and the contractors that have had to be done. 25 trees were removed as part of a targeted risk management. Risk management is critical to Whyalla for our safety. We've had 150 pruning works completed across multiple areas of Whyalla. Almost 1,600 trees have been watered to support their establishment and their health. And more than 500 trees have been audited to inform our teams about what ongoing maintenance is required and any potential risks. So a lot happening on that front that people don't necessarily see happening, but it happens. Customer requests. I've said before, we've created almost a monster by encouraging the community members, if you see something that needs attention, let us know. Well, again, we've had high figures in the last period between January 1 up to April the 12th. We've received 876 customer requests of a whole range of things. Simple, detailed, hard to fix, easy to fix issues. 584 of those have been closed out. They've been addressed. So we've got a little bit of a backlog there. The more difficult issues that are gradually being worked through. It really does show that you are taking an interest in Whyalla and helping us to be, I guess, the eyes and ears when you see something that's required. We have a system. We're improving the system all along to take those that information and those requests from you. And finally, on a really bright night, I've had the very great privilege this week of handing out certificates of appreciation to the many volunteers that are involved with council. And a lot of people don't realise what is available in a whole range of services within council that people enjoy volunteering in. If you're interested in that, certainly please contact council, and we can always look after your interests and you get something out of it as well. And on that, I would just say to all volunteers that do whatever you do in Whyalla, Whyalla has always run on volunteers. Every community in the regions relies on volunteers. It's not just about saving money, it's actually about creating the well-being of our city that would not happen. What our volunteers do could not be replaced. So I thank our volunteers that do anything within council and within Whyalla, all the many volunteer organisations. They struggle. It is a struggle these days to build up volunteer numbers, but you all do a fantastic job. On that note, enjoy the cooler weather. The flies look like they've gone, and we'll talk next month. Cheers.